Don't be shocked when I say this, but I actually like another ocean game. And you guys will probably be like, really, Film and Stuff? You actually like another ocean game? I mean, you're not fucking with us or anything? You actually like it? Yes, I actually like another ocean game. It's Darkman for the Amiga. Now, it's no masterpiece to be sure, but compared to the NES version, it is 1,000 times better. The only problem is this little level in the middle of the game. It takes place on the rooftops, and as I'm sure you figured out by now, it's not the most enjoyable thing in the world. Otherwise, I wouldn't be reviewing it, now would I? So anyway, let's get into it. Levels from Hell, Darkman for the Amiga, the rooftop level. The level begins like the rooftop scene in the movie. Durant chases Darkman across the rooftops in a helicopter and fires grenades down at him. As Darkman, you have to jump from building to building, all the while avoiding the grenade blasts and get to the other end without getting killed. Now before I begin my criticisms, I have to say that I really like the idea of this level. It's certainly better conceived than any of the crap that was shat out into the NES version. The controls, with some exceptions I'll discuss later, are far superior to the other version. In other words, you're not slipping and sliding around like some fucking maniac. Also, I like the graphics in this level. They look a lot more polished and less cartoony than the other version. My only complaint would be is that the main character looks less like Darkman and more like Rorschach from Watchmen. But hey, they're both psychopathic homicidal vigilantes, so I guess I can live with it. And finally, the lack of music in the level works well, I think. With all that said, let's focus on the negatives. This first point is kinda small and pissy, but I bring it up anyway because it really annoyed me. Every time Darkman jumps, he makes this peculiar sound. Here, listen. Oh my god, it sounds like he's taking it up the ass. Of all the sound effects that you could have chosen, that was the best one? The I'm getting my cherry popped by a big hairy bear in prison sound? Yeah, thanks, that's wonderful. And the way he jumps, really, let's be honest, it looks a little gay. I mean, not like anal sex gay, but more like Riverdance, I'm jumping, and I'm frolicking, and I look so graceful gay. But all kidding aside, the jumping does cause a lot of problems in this level. The biggest problem is that when you jump, after a certain point you fall straight down. When you jump around a regular building, this isn't so bad, but when you try to jump off a building where you can't see the bottom, this becomes a big problem. If you run off the building's edge or mistime a jump, you'll fall straight into a pit. And since you can't move left or right when you jump, there's no way to save yourself. Come on, what kind of Mickey Mouse bullshit is this? In almost every game I've ever played, when you jump or fall, you can move left or right. But for some reason, when Darkman jumps or falls, he suddenly becomes paralyzed. And this lack of movement in the jumping will lead to a lot of cheap deaths. What's even worse, though, is the grenades. When you get hit by a grenade, you get blasted back, which is fair. But when you get hit by 2 or 3 or even 4 grenades in succession, you can get blasted back into a pit and there's no way to save yourself. You can't move left or right to try to keep yourself on a building and save your life. So essentially, you just get knocked around like a big fucking ping pong ball and there's nothing you can do about it. And as if that isn't bad enough, look at all the grenades that Durant fires. Jesus fucking Christ on flaming roller skates, look at it, what is that, like 50 fucking grenades at a time? With all the fucking firepower he launches down at you, I'm surprised the buildings haven't been blasted to rubble. Worse yet, he doesn't even bother to fucking aim at you. Hey dipshit, there's this new thing they invented. It's called aiming. Maybe you should try it, you might actually hit something. Durant doesn't even seem to have a pattern. Unless your idea of a pattern is flying back and forth randomly like an idiot and dropping enough bombs to level a city block. I think a better idea would have been to have an aiming reticle chase you throughout the level, and every time it locks onto you, it would blast you and you would lose some health. It would at least make more sense than randomly firing fucking grenades at the building like a lunatic. Another problem is that the hit detection in this level is kinda wonky. For example, sometimes when you fall into a grenade blast, you won't take any damage or get knocked back. Then there are times when you're barely even near the fucking explosion and you still get knocked back and take the full amount of damage. Look at this fucking shit. I'm barely near one blast cloud of the fucking explosion and I get knocked back like I was fired out of a fucking catapult. Yep, that's real consistent hit detection right there. One other critique I have about this level is the inclusion of a time limit. The 99 seconds they give you is actually a lot of time. The problem is that this is not the kind of level where you can take your time. This is the kind of level where you have to keep on moving, otherwise you're going to get your ass blasted into the stratosphere. So basically this level is more about memorization than it is about skill. You fall or you get blasted into a pit, then you remember what you have to avoid, and you do it all over again, on, losing a bunch of lives in the process until finally you get to the end of the level. But then you can't take too long doing this because otherwise you'll run out of time and lose most of your life. Personally, I think it would have worked better if they had omitted the time limit altogether and had a scrolling level, but that idea is just pie in the sky, and this is what we're stuck with. To be fair, this level's not impossible, and once you get its basic layout down, it does become a lot easier. But if they had worked out the kinks and made a better level design, it could have been so much more. So in conclusion, I think this level is a miss, but I wouldn't let it stop you from playing the rest of the game because I do think it's worthwhile. This is Film and Stuff signing off. Thanks for watching. Oh my god, it sounds like he's taking it up the ass.